This is the second game, the second match, the Santa Clara Game Kastle tournament from May 17th. So we have myself playing Gabe on the right. We have HB Stronger Together on the left. Stronger Together is, I think, a pretty difficult ID for my deck. If it does work out, like if the econ flows for HB and they're able to res all that big ice, just high strength ice is a big problem. I am using Yogg, and I'm just trying to make really cheap runs. So extra strength means extra money. Extra money means I'm not really going to be able to make money on my runs. So he mulliganed. I didn't quite see what was in his hand, but I think it was just like a lot of big ice. A lot of expensive to res ice and no real economy. And so he knew that if he kept it, he wouldn't be able to res it, and I'd be able to siphon or index or whatever else. So he decided to risk it. And I decided to keep. With this Gabe deck, I quite often will want to keep. I'm looking for a few key things. Like if I have Desperado or a Data Sucker, I usually keep. And then outside of that, if there's like a sure gamble, that's tempting. If there's a special order in hand, these are the type of things I'm looking for. Yeah, and definitely Desperado. And wow, look at that. It's not really. It's a 3-pointer agenda in there. So this is definitely going to be a big ice, big money deck. And try and defend up the servers, make sure the runner doesn't get too many accesses, and score out those big 5-3 agendas. Alright, so he has an Eve campaign, accelerated beta test, Inazuma, and a hedge fund. And it looks like a Heimdall too, I think. Yeah, so hedge fund's great. That's a pretty good open hand, I'd say. The Inazumas are, those are so good. So I think he drew up and then installed, and so first click I put the Data Sucker down, second click I ran in, knowing that I could spend some clicks to break whatever Biroids. You know, with Strong Together, I think part of the problem with Strong Together is just you're so motivated to put a bunch of Biroids in. So I spend the clicks because it gives me 2 money and a Data Sucker, so it's still pretty efficient. Alright, so I see the Heimdall too. And I would have liked to have a spare click to go check R&D. I couldn't quite check what he pulled. I think he might have pulled... Oh no, he pulled an ice, whatever that was. So he plays out Biroid efficiency to res the Heimdall. It might be a Heimdall. Oh, I think it's a Heimdall 1. Can't quite tell.
Okay, first click I will draw.
Special order, so I could so yeah, the Inazuma, like he's gonna install it over that Heimdall, and then I'm just gonna eat some brain damage. So I decided to just go into HQ again because I'm getting money, and so I see the Inazuma, so that was totally worth spending the clicks on Victor. Yeah, I'm very happy to spend some clicks on Victor to see that Inazuma is in play. I think that probably is the Inazuma still. Because that's, I have to come up with an answer for that before I could run in there. I'm a little surprised that, I think that would have been better, that Inazuma would have been probably better over... Yeah, because I'm just going in HQ, and I think it would have been better over HQ, so he shuts this off. The Eve campaign, yeah. So he can't really afford the Eve campaign yet, but I'm gonna have to trash it eventually. I'm not gonna want to let him keep it, so I'm just deciding if it's So I decided to trash it. I have 1 click left. So I had the Merchant Shutdown in hand, and so now that is a huge liability that Heimdall you do not want to res, because if he reses that, then I break it and it shuts itself down again. Due to the Bayreuth efficiency on it. So he draws up. And he still has that 5-3 in hand. So these HQ accesses, while, you know, it's not super efficient to be doing that, it is working out for me.
Okay, first click I'll draw.
Get another data sucker. So I know that he can't res the Heimdall, so I'm not afraid of the... Oh, and I get another 5-3 out of it. Or get a 5-3. I don't know that there's one in HQ.
Third click, I'll go on that remote. You have 4. Okay, it'll stay.
So I decided not to trash one. I don't want to dump my whole economy right now.
Final click.
I trashed Eve, so I was like, that could be an Adonis. It could be a melange, so I really want to check it, just especially when his econ's low like this. I want to make sure he doesn't sneak through some big asset. So he trashes the whole server, just cause, yeah, that was definitely the right move. Because he wasn't gonna be able to afford to res all that stuff, and so he draws a Jackson and new Bayreuth efficient. That's a.
Technically, this would be the only face-up card in that situation.
So yeah, he reses a Heimdall too with the Bayreuth efficiency,
That doesn't really matter, but it's okay. Yeah.
which is expensive to break. But he's really focused on R&D. And as long as I'm getting these, you know, again, it's somewhat efficient for me to spend 3 clicks to go into HQ.
Okay. That is a big boy.
I could do that, make a little money, build up data suckers, and have 1 click left to kind of, you know, draw a card, prepare for the next. It looks like I also have the Crowder in hand, so R&D I could eventually get through and get into HQ. I am, you know, building up data suckers, which will make a run on R&D much cheaper when I decide to actually go in there. See some ice. Look like another big Bayreuth probably.
No, it's not as bad as you think. Do it! It's not as bad as you think.
So he's afraid that I have another emergency shutdown. I only have 2 emergency shutdowns on a deck, so.
I am going to want that eventually.
So yeah, I'm getting ready to run into the R&D. I want to get in there before he has the opportunity to put like another Inazuma down. And so he just spends his turn to clear virus counters. I think yeah, he's basically trying to defend his R&D. But I gotta go right back into HQ. Same plan, as long as it's working, keep doing it. And it worked. Eventually got the Pride Directos in there.
Final click, I will draw a card.
I think he might have another gen in there too. I think he might have the Accelerator Beta Test in there.
Install for 1. I will draw. And I will draw. And to get rid of some cards. Get rid of that. Okay.
First click, I'll install.
So I get the Desperado out. I mean, I definitely have an advantage here, but I don't want to give up this push, because I could get locked out. Things could change. Jackson Howard. So yeah, I trash it. I don't want him using that to dump agendas that he's getting in his hand into the trash. So he pulls the hedge fund. Unfortunately, he's pretty low on money, so he's not going to be able to trigger that for a little bit. I think he just needs to build up some money. Yep, so he just takes his turn to get money, so that next turn he can fire off that hedge fund.
Okay. Yeah, first 3 HQ.
So just doing the same thing.
3 money.
Now it pays out more. And that's the game. Yeah, it was. I think those Bayreuth efficiencies are a lot more expensive than. Yeah, than they seem like. Yeah, I think they're a big problem because. I don't know. I think the oversight area is just that 2 money less makes it a lot more efficient. But if you would have put one of those over HQ instead of R&D. And he probably didn't have anything cheap, but I guess if the ice was switched at the start, if he had the Victor over R&D and then he Bayreuth efficiency over HQ, that would have shut me out a lot longer, and I think that would have been maybe a good way to go, but I don't know, maybe the draw didn't even really allow him to do that. But yeah, this is just another game with Gabe of You know, that wouldn't have really been an efficient thing to do for other runners, but Gabe gets his 2 money. I was getting data suckers, so it was you know, a good thing to do, and it won the game. So yeah, I guess that's all there is to say about that. And that is the end of the second match. There's 3 more matches coming, and thanks again for watching.